Alright, today we're going to be restoring and cleaning a Kei Hin carburetor for a 2005 Kawasaki Nomad 1600. And we're pretty much going to start by removing all the extra pieces that are in the way. So this hose has a clamp on it. So you push them both in, it'll pop straight off. And if you have a bag, you can just store all your parts in a bag. Go ahead and label it so that you don't get it confused, because I'm going to be rebuilding the whole engine, so we want to make sure that we have everything together and labeled. Next, I'm going to take off these hoses here, and sometimes you need a clamp or some pliers to take it off. Sometimes you can just pull it off. It depends. Really, and you're gonna have to kind of work it some. You don't want to push too hard, because you can break the hose. So I'll get both of these all moved, get them out of the way. And you just want to be careful so you don't damage the clamp. Once you get that off, then you can start working on the hoses. And I'm actually going to take the throttle off right now. If you can see, it has a little clamp right here. And if you want to screw that, that'll slide off, and then it'll come straight out that little hole and you can pop it outside. So that's why we're starting. And some of these are going to have thread locker in there, and you just want to be careful to hammer those on there so you can take those off when it comes down to it. So once we get that off, then we can really start disassembling this throttle. Get it out over there. Then it'll just pop straight off. We'll clean that part up later. Put it in our bag. Then we'll just tighten that screw back up, just so that part's not open. It's really not going to interfere with our cleaning process. So now we'll start trying to work these hoses off. And most likely they're going to need some help to get them off. And they also are connected on the bottom. These are on there pretty good, so you want to be extra careful. that you don't mess them up. But you can get it off if you use some flathead or something to kind of wedge it off while you're pulling. But you want to be careful. Go on the sides of it. Try to loosen it up. And it's starting to come. It's going to take quite a good bit of force to get it off. There we go. There it goes. That's off. So go to our Allen keys. It's gonna have 2 Allen keys on the bottom. Just take those off. We got some corrosion right there, but you're gonna have to use force, guys. You don't want to use too much force, but the absolute level necessary to complete each task, and that is gonna have to be a proper judgment, because you can break something if you aren't being careful. So, and these actually don't have any washers. So you want to make sure that you're checking for that stuff, guys. Because if not, you're going to have trouble putting them back together. So once you get that out, you got to be careful when you're pulling it out. But we got those 2 out, and that's going to go back in the bag with our other equipment. And if you can tell, you can see there's quite a bit of corrosion across here. Throttle body is all corroded inside. You can see quite a bit of corrosion. And then to the engine, you can see where it's getting really dirty. So we're going to be using some Carb Cleaner to take care of most of the issues. Plastic brush, nylon. I'm going to be using a steel one as well. We got a brass one too here in case we need it. So let's begin. And we'll first just start hitting it with our nylon one, just so that we don't mess anything up. And this carburetor is cast aluminum, so you want to be careful because you can mess it up really easily if you're not paying attention to what you're doing. And you just want to hit all the areas and get it off. Might even hit it with the air compressor. Get a lot of this. We'll see how it's gonna go. And we could have took off more parts if it was absolutely necessary. But everything was in running order, and it was just off the bike, so I'm gonna clean it before we reassemble everything. I'm gonna be doing quite a few videos on this project. Got a few of my buddies who wants to see it all take place, so we're gonna try to do the best job possible that we can. And I'm just gonna want to clean it really good. And get these tough spots. You can even use a Q-tip on the exterior. Really don't want to use it on the inside because the fibers from the cotton can get in the engine, and we don't want that. And with just a basic rub down, it really gets most of the corrosion dirt off already. And you want to be careful cleaning out the inside of it, or any part of it really, because the fuel's going to go in there, and you don't want to get anything in your engine that's not supposed to be in there that can harm it. So make sure you're using the right stuff. Alright, now that we got that taken care of, we're just gonna hit it with some carbon choke cleaner, and then we're gonna take our wire brush and start getting rid of the rust and the corrosion and the patina, if you will, from the brass pieces that are on here. You might need to wear a mask when using this carb cleaner if you're not used to it. Probably don't need to though. If you're strong enough to do. So I'm gonna try to clean the outside first because we really don't want anything at all. And yeah, you just want to keep going. Keep cleaning it, get your steel wool, and start working it. And now we're going to start, well, we're going to hit this out one more time because that throttle body's still not looking presentable. And there's a bunch of nooks and crannies you want to hit before we straight tackle the inside, just to make sure that we're not going to be knocking no debris in there. It's a big carburetor for a bike. Kei Hin's a really good brand, so you want to make sure that you're doing a good job and taking care of it. Alright, so this side right here, as you can see, is pretty nasty. Seal's a little messed up there, so we'll probably have to get a new one. But we're just gonna hit it. And this spray. Being careful not to splash your eyes. You want to make sure you get all that residue where the gasket was previously off. And you also want to spray in the little hoses where the hoses were in the nozzles in there. You're also going to want to be careful not to get it in your eyes. So wear goggles if you need to. Everybody has their own preferences. So we can get it in here. Start spraying it. Hopefully that didn't get on the cam. We'll get in this one. And then we'll just hit all these again. And you see it's getting a little dirty in there, so hit it with a rag. You always want to hit it with a good rag while you got all that. Seems to be some rust from the bolts that were in here. So you just want to be sure to get all that in there. So you can see some bolts in there, and then just some buildup. You can look on that one. You can see where it's starting to, so we'll make sure that we hit that area pretty good. And we'll center it up. Get everything looking good. Want to make sure you got a proper workspace when you're doing these works. And then we'll just get in there with a rag. And being extra careful. I'm going to try to get all of that off. We'll hit it with the brush to make sure none of that gasket's left, so when we go back to reinstall, we have a good connection and a good seal, so there's no leakage going on. And we'll just continue to clean it. You really want to have a lint-free rag. But I haven't had any trouble with them, so you just want to make sure you get a good look and make sure that you're not leaving too much of residue in there. And you just want to do a good job cleaning it out. And this is looking pretty good for what we need it for. So we're just going to spray these tubes one more time. And you can see there's quite a bit of buildup in there, so you could actually remove them if needed. That all just depends on how dirty you're getting it, but I'm not seeing too much that needs to be done. From my understanding, the carburetor was working great. So I'm just gonna wanna just tackle where we can. And this one's gonna be on the other side, so you want to be careful to do a good job. And you can see that I actually had some in there that really wasn't that great. And then you're going to want to shake it, shake all that excess out of there. The good thing about it, we're not going to go and reinstall straight away. So, well, it'll have ample time to dry. And like I said, you just want to go around these edges and make sure that the seals are cleaned off so that you got a good connection and there's no leakage. But everything looks to be in great condition. We got it really cleaned. We're gonna buff this spot just a little bit because all that was in there has been coming out, draining. And that one I said with the rust, it actually was quite dirty. So you'll want to get up in there as best as possible, because that's the dirty area down there. Clean part of the rag so we're not backtracking. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and bust this down. Alright, once you get the appropriate parts and tools, then we can go ahead and start disassembling carb. And you want to be careful not to hurt yourself. I would hope that you've gotten yourself strong, so when you go to work on this stuff that you don't hurt yourself too bad. And start on something small. Don't let this be the first project if you haven't worked on automotive parts before. And we got to be careful when taking these off, because there is going to be a gasket there, and I'm going to try to reuse it if it's in good shape. So hopefully everything will go well. Go. And it's just 3 bolts, 1332, 12 millimeter, probably 10, looks like a 10, yeah. And you're going to want to be really careful breaking these two apart. Extra careful. So you don't want to wiggle it, and boom, still intact. And that's a good thing. We did take this apart because, as you can see, quite a bit of sludge. So we'll just take care of that. Quickly and efficiently. And it's gonna be a dirty job, y'all, so make sure you got the appropriate gear and tools to take care of this bad boy. When you're cleaning the carb, you want to try to get out all the sludge that you can get. And if you're cleaning a smaller carb for a dirt bike or a moped, some of them come restricted, so when you're cleaning it, you can also upgrade it or change the main jets, pilots, as well as a couple other pieces. But this carburetor is keen for 1600 cc, so really not going to have to make any modifications, because we're going to have quite enough horsepower to do whatever we really need to get done. And we'll just keep cleaning. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and start hitting it with the wire brush. And you want to be careful. But also have another brush, just another plastic one, and it's pretty much great for this project. So we'll just want to keep spraying it and then cleaning it off. Like I said, this Carb Cleaner kind of takes care of most of the scrub work for you, so you won't have to do too much. But it's going to be a good deal anyways. And it's starting to look really good compared to what it was looking like. So we're going to be getting ready to put this bad boy back together soon. And you want to make sure you get right there, because if you look, a good bit of black sludge in there, charring up. So I want to make sure we clean the sill off too. We'll really take care of that part last. But we'll go in here and hit this line. You can just use flathead, and this sill actually pops out. So what we'll do is go ahead and pop it out. And you want to be extra careful when you're popping it out, because it looks like it was glued in really. So we're going to want to clean it and get rid of all that residue from the glue and the adhesive, whatever was on here. Gasket still there. And gonna want to get that all out, because when we put it back together, we want to have the best so that we can get. With that rubber piece on there, it's not going to be a problem to hit it with the steel brush or the brass brush, whichever one you got available. And you're really just going to want to take a little time and get it figured out. It's not going to be too much work, guys. It's just going to be a little time consuming, especially if you've never cleaned a carburetor before. So you just want to stay focused and persevere. It's the main part of it. Making sure you're dusting off your rag to and from, or from time to time. And once it looks like we got the gasket area all cleaned up, we'll go back in here, start working on the sludge, and we'll just go around the whole sill of it. And we'll do it on the back side as well, so we'll just be going in there. And I'll show you this. Once that throttle gets pulled, it's gonna open your gauges. You see that? So once you pull those gauges open, that's when you can clean that hole. And an easy way to keep the gauges open so you can clean them is once you pop that open, like so, get a good grip. Get those hands nice and strong whenever you're doing this job. And you're gonna wanna get a little piece of metal that you can just get in there like that and hold it in place so that we can go and take care of that sludge. And you want to be careful, because if that thing pops off and your fingers are right there, you may be looking at some trouble. And it really just looks like the bottom part is where all the sludge is. So and you can see it's getting all on the rag. And the job's coming out great. Everything seems to be working really good for us right at this moment. And you'll be good, you know? I really didn't work on automobiles myself up until recently. And I'm very glad that I started. And I wouldn't have started if I just didn't have bad cars, you know? So you'll save yourself a lot of money fixing your own vehicles and your own things, whether it be household appliances or plumbing. Just start small, start with small jobs and start acquiring tools. And next thing you know it, you'll be a full-blown man fixing stuff, or woman, whoever you are and whatever you do. But once you get that start, once you get that taste, and once you accomplish a couple jobs, you build more confidence. And when your confidence gets built, then you'll start tackling more jobs. So now that we have a good opening, gonna keep spraying it a little bit. And you also, whenever you got these two open, you want to spray on the side there, clean it off. And this carb cleaner is safe for the whole carb, so don't worry about that aspect. Rags, you know, old t-shirts, towels, whatever you can find. You can't be too picky, especially whenever you don't have that many funds to really buy everything new. So, just want to do a pretty good job. You're gonna want to go around the bottom edges. And as you can see, now that we have it open, that's looking nice and good. A little bit of dirt or something on the inside of these release valves, so we'll wipe that off. Make sure our gasket area is nice and clean. I have to get a flathead in there and scrub some of those parts, because you want to make sure that the whole thing is clean and ready for installment. And we'll just hit that one more time, like so, and give it another brief wipe down, and the inside of that piece, and we'll let that dry. And we're just going to tackle this side again, because you can see where that gasket was sitting. There's a lot of buildup. Not much buildup on the inside, because like I said, we cleaned that part. Had the carburetor not been used as much, you really wouldn't have had to take both of these pieces off. Just depends on the job, you know. So, and with this cast aluminum, you just want to be careful that you're doing everything correctly and not messing it up or scratching it too much, because that can definitely happen. And just making sure you're cleaning the gasket area good so that it has a proper seal when it goes back on there. And wiping the inside good. You're also gonna want to spray that hole that we did on the other one once again. And when that comes out, like it did, you just want to wipe it off. Just like so. And you'll just put it back into place. And you want to make sure that you got it on correctly, because the last thing you want to do is make a mistake. Alright, so we made sure that every single area of interest is cleaned and perfectly cleaned by that. So we want to make sure that it's all the way cleaned before we reassemble. And we're almost there, guys. So you just want to keep going and just make sure you get it. And there's a little bit of gasket material still there. So what we're going to want to do is get our flathead again and just scratch that off, but being very gently with it. And once we get that off, make sure we get all this stuff off at top. So we'll go in here and make sure the whole carb is cleaned and good, and making sure that there's no dirt or any particles in here, and it looks really good. So get that taken care of, and you got to be careful because that part that we had up top just dropped. Once you find your piece, you don't want to put it up this time. Don't put it back in, because you may lose it again. And then we're going to want to clean the gasket off from where all the glue was, and that's going to be pretty simple. So you're just going to want to get all the loose stuff off with your fingers, being delicate, extra delicate. And you just want to do it right and take your time. A lot of people are going to tell you want to get new seals, which is really the best way to go about it, but not everybody has unlimited funds, and it's best to save stuff if you can. You know, restoring and saving stuff is actually doing your part to help combat pollution and wasting materials. So hopefully you can learn how to do your own stuff one day. And you're just going to want to get it good. You're not going to be able to get it too clean. But you could if you wanted to, like, soak it in some water and stuff with soap and then let it dry. Take your time doing that. That would be fine as well. But we're just gonna get the mainmost pieces in here because it's really gonna be sitting up in that spot really tight. So what we'll do is go ahead and get it ready for the install. And we can actually, at this point, kind of go ahead and take our screwdriver out and make sure this is all cleaned off. And then we're just going to reinstall it and make sure every piece of it is fitting in there perfectly where it needs to go. And you'll find when we're using them that they kind of lose their oomph, but not too bad. So we're doing good here. Then we're going to get the plate. We're going to put it back where it needs to go. Make sure it's all cleaned off right there on the inside. And once we see it's cleaned, then we're going to reinstall the bolts. And you could use thread locker on here if you'd like. You don't have to, but you can. And you're just going to want to tighten them all down. Don't go all the way tight at first, so we can get them all in their respective areas, and then start tightening it up at a time so that everything's going to have a good seal. And then we're going to just keep working it. And you don't want to tighten it too much, but you want to make sure it's definitely snug, and then they're good. But like I said, it's aluminum, so these bolts are brass. So once you go to where it really won't turn no more, then you know you're good. You don't want to over tighten ever, because then it can be trouble putting it back together. Alright, and actually we're gonna have to redo that part because we didn't have our little piece in there, and that's why I didn't take it out. So excuse me for that mistake, y'all. That's why you want to make sure keep your parts out and you're paying attention to every aspect that you're doing. Because if you do that too many times on the same project, it's going to frustrate you really bad. And if you keep doing it, you're not really going to grow and learn and be able to accomplish all the stuff you need to in the time frames that you need, because it's waste. So try to hurry up and get this taken care of as quickly as possible. And once we put that in this little slot right there, making sure it's on the right end, making sure our gasket's still looking good. get it lined up, and it's fitting perfectly. So we'll want to go ahead and put this back on. And we're going to do it the same way, just to get it down there. Not too tight, because we want every piece to be going on there good. That's fine. Just go ahead. Excuse me. Oh. Once you get in there, then you want to tighten. And you don't want to over tighten. But you want to get it snug. And put a good tight seal on it. But be careful. You don't want to strip it. You don't want to over tighten. But you want a good seal on it. So, and we got that back together. Everything's looking good. Seal's looking good. Everything's looking great, eh? And now what we're gonna do is just put back on the parts that we took off originally. So I got this hose line. We're just going to wipe it off a little bit. It's got quite a good bit of dust on it. And we're also going to spray it down some. And as you can see, that it was quite dirty. So you're going to want to put it on the same exact way that you took it off. So if you put it right here, you can see if those match up there, and then you'll know that that's the right way. And there's going to be 2 Allen keys. The smaller ones go here, and there was no washers on them. And once you get them back on, then we can go ahead and tighten them down. We're not going to tighten them all the way at first, just so that we can get both sides in cahoots with one another. And that's starting to get tight. And you're going to want to tighten it. Once you hear it click, you know you're good. And you're going to want to make sure we got our clamps on there so these hoses don't come off. And if you get them in the original groove, you should be doing good. They go on a lot easier than they came off, as you see. And sometimes, like I said, you need pliers over other tools. And sometimes you just use your fingers. I found using your fingers actually is a lot easier once you get the hang of it. So we'll get that put on. And the clamp on this side's actually not in great shape. As you see when I took it off the first time, I had some issues with it. So, and on this one, we might actually have to use the pliers. So, we'll see. And you want to be careful wiggling it on there, because you could mess up the hose. It's actually at this point, I'm gonna have to use the 2 screwdrivers because of the condition of it. And once you get it on, you should be good. Trying to get it in the same place it was in, but that's on there. Now we'll reinstall these pieces that go here, and you want to make sure you have the right one on the right side and that it's locked into place correctly, because if not, you could have your connector come loose, and that could be a shame. So you want to make sure that you're doing your job and holding the correct position. On this one, you'll see this hole, it snaps into a little bitty hole right there. So you'll want to make sure that it's on that side. And then you get it in. This little Allen key. Like I said on this one, you also want to make sure that it's in its place correctly and that it's doing its job correctly. I'll tighten them both pretty good. Make sure everything's on there good. I got 2 more pieces left that go back on this one. Got our hose. It's going in. And you want to make sure that you put it on the way it came off. And this one's just going to go over right here. And then click on, you press the 2 buttons. And there you have it. And we can also spray it down if we needed to, but this one's actually looking great. So, press those 2 down. And snap into place. The last thing we have to worry about is our throttle, and I'm just going to roughly take care of some of this corrosion on it because it's pretty rusty. We're just going to hit it briefly. being careful with it. I'm just trying to get everything back to looking presentable and in good shape. I'm getting all the rust off and the painstaking brushing. You want to be careful that you don't damage that rubber over the cable. Spray that down once more. You ain't gotta worry about getting all the rust off. We could hit it with some WD-40, but really don't want to because it can damage this rubber on here and cause problems. But what we'll do is got some liquid wrench for chain and cable lube, so we'll just go ahead and use this, and we'll get it down in there, and we're just gonna spray it down in there, down in that little hole like that. And once we get it in there, then I want to wiggle it some, and then gonna pull the throttle. And you just want to make sure that you're getting in there good. And then you're able to clean it. But once we got that part off, cleaned and lubed up and ready, it's going to help our throttle not stick. Put that up. And once we get that good and wiped off, then that's going to go back where it was at originally, right here, where we had it interlocked in this piece. And you want to make sure that you go in through this little crack first, and then we're going to hook it in there, and I'll show you how that happens. Excuse the noise, I'm out here working outside in the complex. And once you get it in there, you want to wiggle so you snap it into place there. And you're actually going to want to really get it right here first. Then you can bring it up, pop it in there. Seen that? Then it goes in there just like so. And once we get in there like so, there's a little space right here if you see it. And that's where that latch goes. So you want to make sure that it's on the latch. And once you get it in there on the latch, you can use flathead to push it down all the way, because you want to make sure it's holding it in there. And once you do that, then we can do the final tightening on it and get it in shape. And there you have it. One fully restored and cleaned Kei Hin carburetor for a 1600 Kawasaki Nomad. And that's all it is. And you can see the cleanness that we did, and we took care of it. It's looking in really good shape. Thank you guys for watching, and like and subscribe. Have a great day.